Welcome, everyone, to the fourth episode of In Between the Limes podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about the Pokemon Day on 2025. It's on February 27th. I have two guests with me here today. I have Tyler and I have Joe. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Yo.
Uh, and the topic, obviously, as I said before, was Pokemon Day. I'm just going to get their thoughts on different things that they're going to be talking about during it. Obviously, Pokemon Legends ZA is going to be coming out. That's the biggest talking point for today. So I'm just curious, what are you guys hoping to see for Pokemon Day? Let's start with Tyler.
I just really want more information about ZA. Honestly, I don't think we've got a ton yet. I just would really like a good overview trailer, kind of see where that's going to be, the scope of the game. Probably a few new Mega Evolution reveals. Just a good old overview of it. I'd love to see a new Mystery Dungeon game or a remake of one, although I don't know how likely that is. Besides that, maybe something about the trading card game too. I don't know, but
TCG
that probably will
Pocket.
come. Yeah, it's stupid, but I kind of want to see some new cards.
Yeah, I mean, I did see that there's leaks about a new, like, kind of like Mythical Island, like a third pack coming out, but who knows?
Yeah, anything that lets me kill Darkrai EX faster, I'll take.
How about you, Joe? Anything you're hoping for?
Well, obviously we haven't gotten news on ZA in almost a whole year now. So,
Yep.
um, I don't know if I want like specifically gameplay, but showing the actual game itself. Not maybe if it's not from the gameplay or player perspective, but just something that shows what the game will somewhat be like. Because the last trailer they showed was really just I don't know, showing that they were making the game. It didn't really have anything that was um, showing what the game will actually be like, minus the setting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, New mystery dungeon would be cool. I would definitely prefer explorers rather than remaking an explorers mystery dungeon rather than a new one. Um, this is a take that probably nobody will agree with, but if they have a new game that isn't that they're working on that isn't uh or like a new game after ZA, I'm okay with them having like a BDSP style of like a Gen 2 or Gen 5 game if that's like a back burner side thing to a game that they're, working on like Legend ZA, they've been working on this for a bit.
Another Gen
If
2?
what? A
Another Gen
Gen
2?
Gen 2 or Gen 5?
Ah, okay. I guess Heart Gold's kind of old, but
I think he's talking
Uh
about Let's Go. Well, maybe not
well,
specifically that, but
yeah, Gen 2 well either Let's Go or I liked BDSP more
hmm,
than the Let's Go series, but something that is outsourced, still kind of gives us a little something to play for a bit,
yeah.
but again is an outsourced or like back burner type thing to the main project they've been working on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really like Diamond and Pearl games. Obviously, Platinum is better, so if they based it off of that, I think it would have been better. But they updated like the Grand Underground, which I always liked as a kid, so getting to do that again with like a much more enhanced like version of it was a lot of fun for me. I know a lot of people do not like BDSP because they didn't do megas and all the other reasons, but I it just felt like playing the games that I played like as a kid. It wasn't different by much, but I liked them. So I would be okay with that if it was a side piece to whatever um their main project would be. But in terms of what's next, I would much rather them remake like full on remake, not that style something rather than Gen 10. I feel like it's a little too early for that. I'd much rather get a full remake of Gen 2 or Gen 5, but if it's a side burner game, I would also honestly be okay with that.
Yeah. I mean,
I see that. That's
personally,
fair.
I'm definitely ready for a Gen 5 remake just because uh, that was just a generation I really enjoyed. I played it when I was pretty young, and I kind of like played Gen 4. I played Pearl version and Platinum. There was a time period where I just kind of like stopped playing for a while, and then Gen 5 was coming out, and I got like really into it. So I kind of feel a lot of nostalgia for that game, Black and White. I really love to see a new remake of that. Although I am a little cautious because I personally thought BDSP was just kind of lackluster. I did like it. I thought when it first came out that it was actually really fun. I don't really know why, but like it just I kind of started to agree with other people's opinions when it came out that it was just kind of like not enough to it. It was just kind of Diamond and Pearl, but 3D a little bit with some additions. I do like the Grand Underground. I think that was a cool addition to the game. And I do like the legendaries, how they worked with that, like the tablets you could get. That was really cool, especially Giratina's getting like the distortion one that you could fight like a shadow Giratina. That was really cool. I'm
Yeah,
hoping for the black and white games to be faithful but still feel new. That's the thing. The problem with BDSP was that it felt overly faithful, which is kind of a sad thing to say because it's like I want the game to feel like it was before, but also it needs to innovate. It has to have something
yeah.
else in it. I mean, Heart Gold and Soul Silver had the Pokathlon. They had, I mean, the upgraded graphics. They had so many different things they added. I mean, so many mechanics were added in Heart Gold and Soul Silver that made it feel so new and fun to play that I just feel like BDSP was kind of lacking in that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand that. I just Gen 4 is one of my favorites. I guess I really like Sinnoh specifically, in terms of regions, but both of the Gen 4 sets of games were both really good. But I get that. I mean, I think they kept it so faithful to the original game. I feel like they keep the bug in where you could glitch outside of the map and walk a certain number of steps to get to certain areas. I feel like that was
Probably. I
still in
think I
it.
did hear about that, yeah.
So I think there's people who got to like the Shaman in BDSP before it was even released.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I again, I'd be okay with BDSP style games if they're working on something bigger. I would much rather prefer specifically like a Gen 5. Honestly, I almost wish Gen 5 would be the next Legends game because I feel like it's much more likely to give us like, the whole dragon, all three of them
Yeah, original
together.
Dragon would be so cool.
I don't know if they did a black and white 3, I guess, so a sequel to the sequel. I don't know how that would work out.
Yeah, that'd be
But
weird.
but yeah, if they do that, I would definitely want a full remake of Unova where the graphics are good. You don't have the chibi characters. Um, I don't know. That
Hmm.
that would be my most ideal next step. I feel like especially now that we're over 1,000 Pokemon, I think they need to go back to things that we haven't seen in years. I think before they do Gen 10, I would personally say they should remake in a fleshed out very good style Unova and Johto. I think you should hit both of them.
Yeah. Do you
I think
think
Johto's a little harder to do because in every rendition of it you've also visited Kanto and they've done Kanto so many times, but um yeah, I don't know. I think they really need to
I'll
go back
rescind
to
my
both of those.
previous comment because I just realized that Heart Gold and Soul Silver are 15 years old.
yeah, they're
Yep,
pretty
So
old,
it's
man.
been a long time.
yeah, I didn't. I guess I didn't realize they were that old. But
Five
yeah, I
generations
think
later, man.
yeah, Gen 5 could be good though. I mean, I personally hope they don't go too far. I think there's a happy medium between what BDSP did and like the newer gens. Like I don't think they should make a Gen 5 open world game I or like a remake that's open world. That would feel wrong. But like if you hit the sweet spot where it's like feels kind of like playing, I think Gen 6 hit a good middle ground with like 3D and kind of still feeling like the same map wise. You could have more freedom of movement like directionally, but it can move around a little. And in black and white, in some respects, they had like the bridges where the camera perspective would shift and stuff. I think there's a good middle ground there where they can make it look nice, but not make it feel so different that it feels kind of too far from the original.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Gen 5 was kind of like the advanced version of Diamond and Pearl. Like, they really pushed the games to their limits, I feel like, on that console. Um, so, for ZA, if we're going back to Legends, uh, is there something specifically you're hoping to see? I was kind of curious about your guys' opinions on, like, typically, I mean, I say typically, but we've only had one game. Legends Arceus, we had a bunch of regional forms, evolutions to regional forms. We had different forms for old Pokemon, like with Palkia and Dialga, we getting their origin forms. What specifically are you guys hoping to see? I mean, I know that Megas are coming back in this game, so Are there any megas specifically you guys are looking forward to that you want to see from some old Pokemon? I personally am kind of hoping that they pick some more new Pokemon, especially Gen 5, because I feel like that was underrepresented. We only got Audino with the Mega back in Gen 6.
Yeah, that was a
I'm
little
really,
sad.
really hoping,
Mhm.
personally, for Zebstrika, obviously, because that's my favorite Pokemon. So, Mega Zebstrika would be cool. But what are you guys looking forward to, Joe? What are you looking forward to specifically for that
Okay,
kind of stuff?
in terms of megas, the one that I can put as for sure something I want and is definitely a feasible like possibility is Crocodile. It was shown in the trailer, so it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely in the game. So you already have that box checked off. It just and because it was shown in the trailer, they might be hinting towards it. They did show some things in the trailer like Pinsir that already has a mega. So I'm hoping for Crocodile. They also I think showed Dratini or Dragonair, so Dragonite. I mean, I feel like that's a big one on a lot of people's lists. Um, but I think my main one, looking through the list here of everything they had shown in the trailer, I think the big one for me is Crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some stuff like Pangoro might be cool. I think that
Oh yeah.
was, I mean,
Yeah, that'd be a
obviously
good choice.
Pangoro, maybe Noivern, maybe Aegislash. But for me, I think the top one that is definitely possible, definitely Crocodile. There's definitely other Pokemon from Gen 5, like you mentioned specifically. Like I really like Golett and Golurk, so maybe
Oh yeah.
Golurk would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for new regional forms, honestly, they seem to really pick those out of some random places, and because I can't really pick Pokemon that were shown in the trailer because they would have, we would have known if they were forms already. I can't really pick anything off of that. So, I mean, I could go back to Golett and Golurk with that. Maybe give them something that is, I don't know, themed around Lumiose with lights and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
What
feel
what
like
about
for the
like
most part,
what about like a
regional forms have been
Golurk
pretty solid.
evolution, kind of like how Bisharp had an evolution in Gen 9 with King Gambit? What about like a regional evolution for Golurk? Because they kind of were opposites back in Black and White. Each game was exclusive with those Pokemon. So, would you like an evolution of Golurk? Would you prefer it just be like regional form or a Mega for them?
I would be fine with either. It's hard to, picture stuff like this because, as a concept, I mean, both of the first two are really good, but, sometimes depending on the person who makes it, the concept might not be exactly what I like. Like King Gambit
Yeah.
is all right, but I like Bisharp more than King Gambit. So when I play my games, I keep my shiny Bisharp as it is, and I give it the Eviolite because I like it more. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like Golett and Golurk have a pretty good potential to be good regardless. The thing I know I don't want to see for sure is another form of Meowth. I don't want to see that anywhere.
I kind of like
I,
that
don't- I don't
gimmick. I don't know. I like that
I do
each
not
region
care
gets
for
its
it.
own Meowth. But I
I
mean, they
think
already
okay.
passed that, so Gen nine's
I think
gone.
it's been a little too much for me. I
Yeah.
think Galarian Meowth is kind of funny. I like Berserker. I think Alolan Meowth, just having that in the mix, and then like also having the Gigantamax Meowth, like those two really like. I'm like, why? I
Yeah,
just don't
that's a
get it.
lot.
But Galarian Meowth and Berserker, I like those two. But I feel like the other ones I mentioned kind of ruined it for me.
What we're really due for is another Pikachu. I think we need a Kalos Pikachu form.
I don't know. Do you think
Dude,
they're gonna
nah.
do a new like trio of legendaries that gets forms? Because they did the Galarian, they did the birds from Kanto in
Yeah.
Galar,
Dude,
and
yeah.
then they did the legendary beasts and
And the
the Swords of
Reggies, man.
Justice.
The Reggies
Oh, and
got
the
two
Reg.
more in Galar. I think they're really
Dude,
going back to old ones, and they're really
it's,
adding new ones.
well, those weren't new forms of existing Pokemon, but I guess technically the other ones aren't either because uh, what is it? I don't remember all the weird name. Iron Valiant and or no
Yeah, yeah,
Iron.
yeah. Gouging
I can't even
Fire,
remember the
Raging
names.
Bolt, Walking Wake, Iron Leaves, Iron
I
Boulder, Iron
can't remember
Crown.
their names because they're so weird. I guess they
Yeah.
are technically new Pokemon, but
hmm
um,
It was
I
revisiting
honestly
old ones, though, yeah.
I don't know if this is an opinion that's shared by a lot of people. I am honestly okay if they just like keep adding Reggies until we have one for every type. That's a
Yeah.
funny gimmick that I like.
No, I agree. I agree. I would love to see plenty
I'd like
more
to see
red.
that with the Eevee forms. I feel like they're done with Eevee forms after Sylveon. They're like, oh, we added a new type. We should make a new Eevee form. People would like that. But
Mhm.
they're like, oh, we're kind of done now with Eevee forms. And you keep seeing speculation. Oh, new Eevee form coming out. Dragon. I remember
Yeah.
seeing Dragon type Eevee was like a big speculation for Gen 9, but like it didn't happen. Obviously, I don't know.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's something I'd like to see, but I doubt
I'd like
it's
to
gonna
see it for
happen.
both. Yeah, honestly, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
If you guys could have an evolution in the game, what kind of evolution would you want?
You mean like type wise?
Yeah, type wise.
I would want a ground type Eevee or a flying type.
Ground, I think ground or steel.
Oh,
Steel.
steel would be good too. Yeah.
Personally, I kind of want to see a bug type. I
I was
think they
gonna
could do
say
something
actually,
really interesting with it.
bug would be cool too.
That
I
would
just
probably
don't
be
know
my
how they
third
would do
choice.
it.
Yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
Um, what kind of forms or evolutions are you looking for, Tyler? Anything specific?
Well, we saw Arbok right away, and Arbok has
Oh
not been
yeah,
very good for a while, so I wouldn't mind it getting a little more love. I think a Mega Arbok would be a good choice.
Poison Dark, Mega Arbok.
Yeah, Poison Dark would be great for it,
Mhm.
honestly. That typing is phenomenal. I think Golurk was mentioned before. I think a Mega would be good for it. It's been a little underwhelming. I can't picture it with an evolution personally. It looks like it's done. Like I mean, I personally I thought Bisharp looked like it was done, but even more so, like Golurk is a big, like huge, like Titan Pokemon. It's
Mhm.
gigantic and it's got it doesn't. Where are you gonna go with it really? I mean, I think a
Okay,
Mega's
well,
fine, but like
I don't know, man. Primeape looked finished to me, and they gave that thing an evolution, so
Primeape
I
just looks like
love
an angry.
Annihilate.
I do
Primeape
too.
just look, but Primeape doesn't look like that. Like I don't know, like maybe it looks complete, but Primeape still look like small. Like Golurk is. Where do you go from here? It's got to be like I can't even picture whether they can make it like a building or something, or do they lean into the rocket and make it a
I
missile?
think
Yeah,
they
I was
could
gonna
do
say something
something,
with the
man.
rocket
Take
because
that back.
they don't show that
No,
very
don't
often.
make it
That
a rocket. Please don't make it a rocket.
I feel like they could do something. Is there any one
they could do
Pokemon in
something.
particular that you guys feel like could use like an actual evolution, not mega, but like something that looks incomplete? Like, is there any Pokemon that you feel could use something else? Because I feel like there are some
Uh,
out there that feel like they could use an evolution or something. I don't know.
I always thought Beheeyem, is that as I say it, that psychic type?
Oh yeah, yeah, the
Counterpart
alien from Gen 5.
looked very forgettable, and I don't think it looks very complete, honestly. Um, I think that would be
I like that evolution line, but I can agree with that.
yeah. Mega
Yeah.
Ferrothorn would be great if you give it double the defenses and you just can't kill it ever.
Stop. I
Um,
hate that thing. You know what
yeah,
else would be
that's.
good? I just thought of Mega Volcarona. Do you guys think that's cool?
That would be. I think that'd be pretty
Yeah,
sick.
I think Volcarona's gotten like I wouldn't be mad if they didn't do anything with it because we've already gotten past and paradox variants
Oh
of it,
yeah,
if you
good
can call
point.
it that.
Iron
But
Moth and
but you know,
Slitherwing.
I wouldn't mind a Mega. I feel like it could be given to something better. And I generally think Mega should be given a Pokemon that maybe are a little underwhelming. Or maybe just
I feel like
aren't
they
as
do a
good
good
now that
mix.
designs have
You know,
changed.
underwhelming and also like pretty good.
Yeah, like I liked Mega Beedrill was a good choice that needed it. Lopunny sucks without its Mega. There's a lot of Pokemon that just flat out suck without their Megas. Pinsir's a great example. Pinsir
Hmm.
Mhm.
gets so much from having aerialated like flying type and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
Uh,
if it
true.
would need an evolution, but I think Breloom would be maybe a cool
Oh yeah,
mega.
that'd be a cool
that could be a
mega.
Um,
cool Mega. I agree. I think Scrafty might not be a bad choice. I think anything dark
yeah,
fighting. I think any dark fighting Pokemon could use a Mega just because Fairy types just annihilate them, and Fairy types. I think they seem to be pretty good still,
Hmm.
like all things considered.
There's a couple Gen
Uh,
7 Pokemon I'd say could use it too. Like, I'd like to see Lycanroc get a Mega, even though it has a Z moves exclusive.
mhm.
I feel like that would be cool. Komodo would be cool. Palisand I could see getting a Mega. That's just a Pokemon I feel like has just got a lot of potential for some new form or something.
yeah, that
Um,
could be nice.
Galissapod would be cool with something else too. I feel like that's a cool design that could
Give it
use
a
something.
Mega with any other ability, and it's great.
Emergency exit. Yeah, that's true. It isn't the best. Anything else, Tyler?
Um, I know Dragonite was Dragonite shown in the trailer or just Dratini or something?
One of its
Dragonair.
pre-evolution.
Dragonair
A
was shown off.
Dragonair. Okay. because I honestly, and this might be like a little bit of a fan thing, but if they made a variant, like if they made a split line for the Dragonair where the evolution kind of looked more like Dragonair, kept it like the blue, more like
Mm-hmm.
regal aesthetic, I would like that. I don't hate Dragonite, but I think, there's something interesting there trying to make it look more like the original.
Yeah, that's fair. I do think it looks kind of cool in its original kind of like serpent form. The Dragon Knight
Yeah.
form is kind of goofier, but
It
I
just feels a
still
little
dig it. But
I
disjointed.
think Dragonite looked a lot nicer in the sprites, the 2D. I think once they moved
mm,
to 3D, especially with the animations they gave it, it looks kind of goofy.
it's
Yeah,
weird
I mean
that
that's a lot of money for yeah.
that was the only pseudo legendary I think besides Gudra at the time that didn't get a mega. Because Tyranitar, Metagross, Elements, oh Hydreigon I guess didn't get one. Um,
I know Haxorus technically isn't a pseudo, right? But
yeah.
that would be a cool mega.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that would
honestly kind of
definitely
hope I kind of hope Dragalge gets something.
be.
That thing's it's not very good. I mean,
It's
it could
cool.
use the boost. No, I mean I'd like Noivern too, but like if I'm looking from my perspective, which is Megas should be from Pokemon that like need them more.
Mm.
Noivern's not terrible. I think Dragalge is.
Dragalge and Clawitzer, if they hit both of those with megas, that'd be kind of neat.
I was gonna say
Lots of really
Barbaracle. That thing is like
Or
forgettable as
or that give
shit.
it more arms. Give it more
yeah,
Yeah,
arms.
that
yeah,
thing's
no, that'd
forgettable
be
as shit.
funny.
That thing could use a mega 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Um,
idea.
or Furfrou. That'd be a weird one though.
Yeah.
In terms of a Legends game, you always get well. We've got with Arceus at least past starters as the new trio, and they got regional forms for their evolutions. What starter trios are you guys hoping for?
I guess I'll take it first. So especially if we're getting megas, I think you can kind of hope, maybe not safely, but eliminate gens 1 and 3. Although maybe maybe we get like Trico or Mudkip or whatever, and we get like a Z mega form of it. So maybe you can't count those out, but I think for if you want to count things out, gens 1 and 3 already have megas. Gen 6, that's the generation that Kalos is, so you're probably not going to get any of those. And then they use gens 2, 5, and 7 for the past Legends game. So I think for the water type one, I'd probably go with Piplup, Fuecoco for the fire type, and then I guess that really only leaves, if you eliminate everything I said, Grookey for the last one, which I like all of those. I don't hate it, but I feel like I'd much rather pick from some of the generations I think that they might not pull from.
Mm,
Um, like I think Totodile, if Railgator got a Mega, I think that would be really awesome. Um, I mean, I love all the Gen 4. I mean, honestly, all the starters from the first like 4 to 5 gens are all really solid. So, I'm kind of nervous if they pull from Gen 8 or 9 though. I think those might get a little wacky.
yeah,
Um, if they use Litten or Sprigatito though, and they make it a regional form where it's on the cat stays on 4 legs, I'm all for it. So
yeah, that'd be
I'm
cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it really depends what they do with the concepts because a lot of this I feel like most of the starter Pokemon are pretty dang good. Um, like I think even Quaxley isn't that bad, but then the more you evolve Quaxley, the worse it gets. It's just so I feel like Sobble I think is just the weakest out of all of them, at least at the first evolution.
Yeah,
Um, so I think
Agreed.
it really just depends what design they go with because Litten and Sprigatito were both really good designs, but then I think general consensus is that they should have stayed on 4 legs, and a lot of people don't like their final evolutions because of it.
hmm, yep.
Um, that's my take.
What about you, Tyler?
I don't think they're necessarily going to rule all of these things out because I don't think they're going to go. I don't think they're going to use any of the Gen 9 starters, I'll be honest, and that just doesn't leave enough left. So I guess that kind of begs the question what can they still use? So I would say I don't think Gen 2 and 5 are necessarily off the table. And I think there's some interesting potential there. I think Tepig could be an interesting choice to have a variant. Um, I think the Meganium's got a lot of untapped potential. I think you make a Grass Fairy there. I think that'd be a great choice. Good way to innovate Meganium, which is I think historically probably been the worst final grass starter, like battle speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the clear water choice is Piplup. I mean I love Mudkip, but I think another Swampert form would be hilarious. But I think a Mega Empoleon just seems to make sense. It's a very unique typing. I think you could do a lot with the concept of a metal penguin. Totodile might not be bad. Greninja, I kind of forgot. It has the Ash form, but it doesn't have like. It's just the Ash form, right? Like there's
Yeah.
nothing else there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really do wonder if this one's really focused on Kalos, and then depending on the setting it's set in, maybe they will just use those starters again and just give them the megas they never got before.
Yeah, a lot of people have talked about that, about how they just have the Kalos starters, like they wanted to pick different starters this time, and then they would just give them megas at the end. I mean, I don't know. Would you guys be fine with that? Because I feel like for me personally, I would be all right with that. I'd probably be hesitant at first because I'd be like, I really want to see something like unique, but I do like those three starters. I mean, Chespin for me is the weakest one of them all, but I do like Froakies line a lot, and Fennekin's line's pretty good too. I do think I would like Megas, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool to see like a regional evolution of one of these starters, just to like change it up, kind of like how they did in Arceus. Is there
Regionals
like,
could be interesting.
sorry, is there like like a three starters specifically that you guys would want to see, like a fire, grass, water, or is it just kind of like, I don't know. There's some that are better, but you kind of be okay with whatever.
If I could take exactly what I want, I think Totodile, Turtwig, and then if I could be like really picky, I could be like Litten, but keep it on four legs. Like that I feel like that is what I would
Mm-hmm.
go with.
Yeah.
I might be okay. I think I would much rather prefer that they give us three unique or three different generation starters, and then also do the megas for the Gen 6 ones, but not make them like those yours.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty. I think they're all pretty solid. My main issue, I guess, Quilladin is kind of ugly. I like Chestnut. My main issue with Chestnut is that its helmet is really like its head is really like small. If they give it a big helmet, I think it would look so much cooler. So I think it even just from a design standpoint, I think Mega Chestnut and all the other ones obviously could look really cool. But I would much rather prefer that we just get three old ones and then they honest do megas for all six would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really just hope they like. I really don't want them to give us Mega Charizard Z. But, please don't.
Yeah, I don't know if they would
That'd
do
be
that.
funny.
It'd be funny, but I don't know if like I don't know. It's a
Honestly,
weird
now that
one.
you said it, it's
Blastoise and you can give Blastoise and Venusaur like I guess Y forms or Z form like so they would each have two then, but like I
Yeah.
don't want to see them for Charizard, and I don't think there's a way for you to give like Venusaur one without doing Blast. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
It
that
might
makes
just
me
end up.
wonder if they would do like X, Y mega forms again. Like, because all we have is Charizard and Mewtwo for that.
That's my
It would be
thought. Is that if
weird.
anything, they would just do a Z form for something that already had one. Like maybe they do Mewtwo Z, and even
Mm-hmm.
that, I really hope they just. I honestly hope they just pick new ones.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they have the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire Megas in this game. I'm sure they will, but I'm just the one I was thinking about really in particular was like Mega Rayquaza because that's kind of a
Hmm.
weird one and it's not like the same as the rest of the Megas. I don't know. I feel like they would probably include all of them. I don't know why they wouldn't, but um
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that they do it like like side quest once you're done with the game. Maybe like you can go find Latios and Latias somewhere. Like I
mhm.
integrate it into the story somehow in a way that works. But Rayquaza would definitely be the hardest one because of how it mega evolves.
Yeah, that makes me think the
And
Hoenn legendaries
try
would probably be included in that too.
Yeah, I love them, so that would be great. But I don't know how you would factor in like Primal Kyogre and Groudon and Mega
Oh
Rayquaza
yeah, the
into that.
primals
I c-
too. I didn't even think about
mhm.
that.
I could see them like doing Mega Latios and Latias as a side quest that like they could integrate pretty easily because I mean they're like jets, they fly. Like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that would be a pretty thing, but like pretty easy thing to integrate. But I think the main Hoenn legendaries, I think that those would be much harder to put into the story in a way that is feasible and not like what they did with Scarlet and Violet, where all the legendaries are just kind of just sitting in random spots waiting
Yeah,
for you.
yeah,
Like I haven't even caught a bunch of them. Like sometimes I'm just walking around. I'm like, oh hey, there's a Cubfu just sitting over there. Still haven't
Yeah.
caught it. He's still sitting there.
If they did shiny lock them, they would be a lot more interesting to me personally. But
Yeah, but they're just sitting in random places. They have no cool like dungeon that goes with them or
yeah,
anything. Like
yeah,
I'm pretty sure Groudon's just sitting on a cliff. There's not even like any lava or anything.
yeah.
Plus, one thing that I really hate is just the size thing, like sizing of Pokemon. Like Groudon's supposed to, or actually, I think Regigigas is a better example. Pokemon that's supposed to be able to pull continents, and then when you like throw it out in the game, it's like twice your player height. So like not small, but not like
Huge.
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
mean, that
I
is
feel like
Pokedex accurate though. If you look at the Pokedex, it's like
yeah,
nothing's
I don't know.
really
I
that
just
big.
wish they would. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Tyler? Is there any particular starters that you want to see?
I think Joe's picks were fine. I'd be okay with those. I think if I had my own choice, I definitely think I want to see Empoleon more than I want to see the other water starters.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably be fine with anything like all the water starters are really good up until Gen 7, so I'd be fine seeing any of those personally. I mean, no repeats with the Megas would be great, but they're all fine.
Yeah.
Grass, I think either Turtwig or Chikorita. I think both have a lot of good. Probably leaning towards Chikorita just because at least Torterra got Shell Smash and with the loaded dice you can do some stuff with it now. Meganium's still just so bad and generally kind of a not very. It's not Pokemon that's loved very much design wise either. I feel like the Cyndaquil and Totodile line's always got a little more love, so I think that'd be a good one to stick in there. And then as for the fire one, I think Embor's got the most room to improve personally.
Mm-hmm.
I think a Litten on all fours would be great. I think if they could do a fire ground Litten on all fours, that would probably be great. A fire ground Pokemon that's actually fast, that's my hope.
Yeah.
That
Um,
would be really nice.
yeah, I did like your idea, Joe, of mentioning maybe they have separate megas just for the 6 starters, but you don't start with those Pokemon. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I've seen some interesting stuff for Delphox. Give it like a witch hat, lead into the staff a little more. Go full like arcane with it. I think that's really good. Chestnut, I've seen some interesting ideas with the armor, giving it like giant shields on its arms, and leaning more into the defensive mode. I think there's good stuff there. My main concern is what do you do with Greninja that you haven't done already with Ash Greninja?
The
I
thing
don't really
about
know.
Greninja though
I
is
feel like you could lean into the like give it more of a cloak or more like I feel like you could lean into like a different direction
you
because
could totally do
Ashburn
it.
is
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
I
I
guess
think one of my
with
bigger complaints about it, I like the Hisuian Typhlosion and all those ones. I just kind of wish that they made. I don't even think it would be that hard because once you have the concept for the final evolution to kind of make the other ones go with it, I think it kind of sucks that you have the first two evolutions and then it just kind of splits off there with like I mean Cyndaquil is the example I'm going to go with has like normal fire looking and then it evolves into cool lava. It still kind of looks normal, but then it evolves into Typhlosion and its fire is just kind of wispy and purple. Like if they made a like version of Cyndaquil and cool lava that had those like purple flames, I think that would have been really cool
Mm,
and would not take a lot of time to redesign.
Yeah, I can see that.
Um, I thought that would be really cool, but obviously, given that those games already happened, I feel like I think it would have been really cool, but I think it's just a missed opportunity. Like I think if they gave Rowlet kind of that hat that maybe is like obviously a smaller version, but the hat that the Decidueye has, I think Rowlet would have been really cool like that.
yeah.
Yeah, that would have been
I
I
feel
fun.
think that'd
like.
make me like I think that'd make me like Dartrix a lot more too. If like I
Mhm.
don't really care for Dartrix all that much, but I think if they gave it that kind of hat, I think that would make it a lot cooler of a design.
I feel like they only did that because they didn't want to like reveal it too early. I feel like the whole point of that was that they just kind of wanted to
Yes,
keep it
I completely
secret,
get it.
and they're
Yeah,
like, "Oh, we're not going to tell anyone until the game releases that there's like a new evolution." So it's just kind of an interesting way to go about it. Um,
yeah,
I feel like I agree with you guys that I feel like I'd rather have a different trio, but then have like in Legends Arceus, you could find all the Sinnoh starters. They're just like regular Pokemon you could find in the wild.
yep. Hmm.
I would like to see them get megas, but like be completely separate from the starters that you get from the trio.
Yeah,
I feel like a little different because I know you guys prefer like the older starters, but I would like to see one of the newer starters get picked as one of the forms. Um, I think Score Bunny is one I would probably pick. I think it's something that could. It just seems like it has potential to have an evolution that's like different. or something. Like I remember when it was first coming out, people were speculating it being fire electric in its final evolution. I would like to see that just because it's a type combo that's really underrepresented. I think only Rotom is the only thing I can think of that even has that type combination.
Yeah, that's the only one.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I do think Litten would be a good pick. I like Litten and I like Torracat. Incineroar is I've kind of like grown accustomed to Incineroar just because you kind of just get used to it, I guess, after seeing it 100
Smash.
times.
We can
Yeah,
just
that
say
too. I do
Smash.
like it in Smash. But I also agree with you guys that I think it would be really cool if it was like an all fours Tiger. I just don't know what they could do like
Yeah,
conceptually with it that would
I
change
really
it
like
from
Litten and
Litten.
Torracat. I think that could be really great. Kind of jumping back quick to Raboot. I think if they stuck more with Raboot, I know that it's kind of like I guess I don't know if I want to say tracksuit, but it has the little bit it's covering up part of its mouth and it has its hands in its pockets. I feel like they could lean into that more. Or honestly, with the part of it's covering its mouth, I think they could almost use like Froakie and Raboot and maybe one more and make them like ninjas or something. I don't know, man. But I
They're
feel
all
I feel like
ninjas.
Raboot does have potential for. I feel like it has good potential for a split off. I just Score Bunny is a pretty decent starter. I just don't care that much for Cinderace. I mean, honestly, that whole generation was just kind of a whiff, in my opinion. Like, it had cool Pokemon, but, like, I'm never going to go back to Sword and Shield and have the amount of, like, nostalgia or fun that I did with anything like Gens 3 through 5. I mean, it's
Hmm.
hard to compare to those, obviously, but I think even, um, personally, um, I'd rather play Legends Arceus. I'd rather play through Scarlet and Violet again, or Sun and Sword and Shield are pretty much on the bottom of my want to replay them list.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they have their problems. I mean, everyone's got their own favorite games and whatnot. I think
Yeah,
Sword and Shield have their merits in some areas. I especially think the DLC was pretty substantial, and I enjoyed it a lot. But the main game had its issues, but I don't know. I think the starters, especially Grookey and Scorbunny, I agree about Sobble. I'm not a huge fan of Sobble. I just think it's kind of an awkward Pokemon design. I'm not a huge fan of it. But I think Scorbunny and Grookey both have potential to be picked and have their own forms.
I
If
think
I were to pick
Sobble.
specifically, I think I would personally choose probably Turtwig as my grass starter. I think or Snivy. I'm really torn between the two. I like Snivy a lot, and I feel like it could also be picked and would be fitting in the region too, since it's France and it's kind of based off of like European people.
I could see that. Yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
I think that'd be a good choice.
yeah, and then I think I would pick Scorbunny personally. That's just or Litten, one of the two. And then for my water type, I honestly it's really hard to pick because I don't really care about most of these. If I were gonna go back and like double dip, I'd probably pick Totodile. I think that'd be the coolest one to pick. But obviously Cyndaquil was picked in Legends Arceus, but I still think Totodile is a Pokemon that could have a lot of potential for a regional evolution or something.
hmm
Hmm.
How about new legendary forms? So with Legends Arceus, we got Origin Dialga, Origin Palkia. Do you guys think that Xerneas and Yveltal are gonna get new forms? And there were leaks about two megas that are gonna be in the game. I'm not too sure if it's true, but I'm pretty sure. Zygarde and Zeraora were two Pokemon that people were saying are gonna get megas in the new game. So that would be a new form for Zygarde. That'd be, I mean, it is ZA, so I'm sure Zygarde is gonna be the focus of the game. I'm not like surprised it got a new form. But do you guys think the main two legendaries are gonna get new forms, or do you think they're gonna get like a mega, or like just what do you think they're gonna get? Tyler, do you have any thoughts on that?
Quick question. Did the Eternal Floette was that gonna be a legendary?
Um,
The
it was like
Pokemon
a
that was never really
regular
added.
Floette, but it had its signature move called Light of Ruin.
Okay.
I don't think it had better stats as far as I'm aware.
Oh, well, that's not super fun. I was kind of hoping they'd add that, but it's not a legendary, so I won't
Yeah, yeah.
sidetrack.
They should bring that back though.
Uh, they should. It just seems like such an easy thing to do. I mean, the concept's there. People liked it. They should really
Hmm.
bring it back. But getting back on topic, For new forms, I mean, I don't know, man. I did not care for what they did to Dialga and Palkia in the Arceus games. Arceus. I just did not think those Pokemon looked good. Um, especially compared to the original, like Palkia on all fours was just so cursed. And I always liked Palkia more than I like Dialga, but I don't even know what they would really do with them at this point. I mean, one of them's a bird and one of them's a deer. If they reversed it, I feel like that would be so cursed. Um, I think Zygarde with the cell thing. I think you've got a lot of potential there, but you've already got 100%. So I don't know if there's just another step you take it in, or if there's just a whole nother different thing there. Um, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know. There a lot of the other stuff. Like, there's a lot of mythics in the game, right? Like Zorora and Volcanion. Magearna is Magearna Gen
No,
6?
that's Gen 7. But there's
What was the
Hoopa,
Gen 6 one?
Diancie.
Diancie, sorry, that's the one
Yeah.
I was thinking of. But that has Omega too. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess if they just integrated those a little better, I think that'd be fine. I mean, you want to give the Volcanion or whatever megas, it could be interesting. I mean, not warranted because they're already decent Pokemon, stat wise, but it could be cool to see some new forms. I think Volcanion, you could do some interesting stuff with it being a fire water and just
Hmm.
shooting water at people. I think there's something there you can do.
That's the only one that doesn't have like a different form too. Hoopa's got Unbound form, and
That's
Diancie's a
true.
Mega. So I feel like Volcanion is the most obvious pick for having a new form as a mythical, at least.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
agree.
Joe, what do you think?
So in terms of Zygarde, I honestly don't want to see a Mega. I think its 100% form is already really cool. And I feel like that, like anything on top of that, I think would just be too much. I think its 100% form always already looks like I don't know how you could make a Mega out of that. I feel like it honestly almost looks like a Mega as is. I would if I my personal idea with that would just be make different forms that are because you have like what 10%, 50, and 100. Just make forms in between that. I've seen some really cool designs for that. I would much rather have two or four forms that are in between those marks. I think that would be cool. For Xerneas, I think I always kind of thought it was dumb that it was a tree and didn't have the grass type, especially when it has like it already kind of has two forms because it has like its antlers when they're not lit up, and then the form where it does,
Yeah, that's true.
but it's not. But it's not an actual real like thing. I don't know. I think Mega Xerneas, where it gets the grass type, or just a different form or as a grass type, I don't know, would be cool. I don't know what you do with Yveltal though. That one I have zero idea because it already has two types. Like Xerneas feels like it is kind of missing something in that aspect that you could use, but I just don't know what you would do with Yveltal. I think they'd probably just make it a bigger, I don't know, spikier bird, and
Hmm.
probably keep the typing the exact same. So
Make it
Yeah.
shaped like a Z.
It's a Y though. That's the whole point.
Stick its head on the end to make it shape. Don't ask how it flies. It's
Zygarde's
just
a
make
like
it
a
snake.
make
Z.
make them all different letters. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of letters, the game's ZA, so there's an A part. Do you guys think it's just the AZ character that they're referencing? The logo itself has like a pattern to it. It looks like kind of like leaves. So do you guys think there's gonna be like a new Pokemon representing that A? Or do you think it's just like, you know, people looking into it too deeply?
Um, I I always thought when I saw the ZA logo that it just looked like Zycard scales, but I'm gonna pull it up real quick to make sure I'm not correct. Oh, I guess it does kind of look more. It does kind of look like scales more than cells, if I'm looking at it that way, or kind of like a plant. So,
Yeah, the A
eh,
looks
the
different.
yeah, the Z, yeah, because the Z has like the kind of hexagon shape. So that's I feel like it's got to be something. I don't think it would be an existing Pokemon. I think it has to be something new.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if maybe they I don't know maybe they have a mega for what the hell is that Floette Flabebe Florges. Maybe they have like
Oh
a
yeah.
mega form of that kind of ties into the story.
Yeah.
Or a split off form. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
have heard that like since it's based off of like the Viking like mythology stuff, there's like a squirrel that's part of the mythology that's supposed to be like related to the snake, the hawk, the deer that's part of that mythology. Some people are like saying that that's what Zeraora is supposed to be. I I mean he's kind of like a snake or a squirrelish kind of ferret
Kinda,
creature.
yeah.
I mean he's similar, but I just feel like they would make it look more obvious with the A if that was Zeraora related. So
Yeah.
maybe it's a new Pokemon related to that. It's possible, but I'm not too sure. Tyler, what do you think?
I think people might be reading into the title too much. I think when you look at the Japanese translation, I don't think it's supposed to actually be like a full A. I think it's just supposed to be like the sound. I think it might have also just been named that to kind of differentiate itself from being okay, this isn't exactly going to be Pokemon Z. It's not going to be, you know, that third game you were all waiting for back in, I don't know, 2013. I'm not good with the years. Um, but I really just think I don't think it's going to be a new Pokemon. I think it's just going to lean into the AZ thing. And I don't know. I guess it kind of looks like Scales a little bit. I really think it could be plants. Like, it kind of looks like leaves branching out a little bit. It could tie back. They could do more with the story there. Because, Pokemon X and Y had that whole backstory with the AZ character. I think they could do a little more with that. I don't know if they're good. I just don't think it's going to be a new Pokemon personally.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like it's kind of up in there. We don't really know. I mean, it is weird that they have a pattern at all to me. Like, why would they include that if it didn't mean something? But I'm not too sure. Um, so in regards to megas in this game, I was wondering about like because I've seen a lot of speculation online about how that's going to work because Legends Arceus was a game mostly focused on catching. There's battling in it, but it's very minimal, didn't really play a huge role in the game. But Megas is like completely a battle focused mechanic. So do you think that ZA is going to be like very specifically focusing on battles? And like how do you think Megas are going to work? Because they they only exist in a battle in X and Y and the games following. Do you think that they're going to be like walking around outside a battle, or do you think they're only going to exist in battle like normal? Like, how do you guys think that's going to work? Joe, what is your opinions on that?
Um, so I remember something I saw like a week ago or so where there was something from the Pokemon like TV series that's going on right now.
Uh, Horizons,
I think
right?
that's the
Is
one.
that it?
I thought there was something in there where I saw something where they were talking about like it's whatever I don't watch the show so I don't know, but whatever, like probably evil team seemed to like trying to make something that was like forced megas or something like that. So maybe there's something with like kind of like enraged Pokemon like there was or in Legends, but like maybe the evil team or whoever makes enraged Pokemon that like then forces them to mega outside of battle. I could see them doing something like that. And that would kind of replace the um was it Titans or
Ooh, I don't
I'm
even
trying to remember
remember
what
honestly.
I'm
It was
trying to
something
remember
like
what the
that,
what the
yeah.
bosses were called in Legends.
Um,
Uh,
I never played. You picked the wrong guy to join your podcast.
I can't remember what they were called. Were they
Noble
just?
Pokemon.
Oh
That's it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah, so maybe if they make like something that's like forced Mega Evolution, you could kind of have that replace those. I could see them doing that. Um, but I'm not really sure. I know I liked the mechanics in uh the other Legends game because I like catching Pokemon and going around and doing that. I don't know how much the Megos would tie into it outside of probably being boss type battles. And then besides that, I think it would probably just be the same thing where you can kind of enter battles the same way as Legends. But it would probably just be, you mega inside the battle and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that
Or maybe
the battles are gonna be like completely focused in Lumiose City? Because I mean, a lot of people are reading into like the specific text about it, and it's like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh, the region's gonna be, or the whole story set in Lumiose City. Do you think people are gonna be venturing outside of the city, or do you think it's gonna be like
Yes.
set
I really,
within
I really hope
only the bounds of the city.
if it's entirely within the city, I don't know how you can make that a Pokemon game. I just
Yeah.
I don't see the vision there. If that's what they're doing, I don't see how that could work very well.
This is by far my least favorite part of the speculation. There's a whole region to explore. You want a big part of the game to be focused on building the city, fine. You can't build a city by just saying the city. You have to go gather things to like resources and stuff, you know.
Even
Yeah.
beyond that, this is a
It would,
Pokemon game where you want to go catch a bunch of things. The whole like thing is every region has a besides maybe like Kanto where it's like grass or water. Most regions have like, especially recently, have different like biomes, different areas, environments where you catch a whole bunch of different Pokemon. You have to kind of venture through these areas. I don't see how they could possibly make an entire game with a complete feeling Pokedex where you are entirely within the bounds of the city. Like, how do you like? You can I could see you catching like like Pidovs or like Squovits in a city, but like beyond that, like how do you? I don't know how you would expect to catch Pokemon like Barbarical in like a random
yeah.
poll, but that's the one I'm using. Like
Hmm.
while being in the city, I just don't see that. I feel like you have to be able to venture out into the wild, and if not, I don't know what the vision is there.
Do you think
Yeah, and
it'll
I would
be
say
similar to how the DLC for Scarlet Violet was with the biodomes? Because some people are discussing whether or not it's in the past, it's like modern day, it's in the future. Do you think that finding wild Pokemon would be like different in like the future setting where you'd find like specific biomes around Lumia City you'd walk into? Like the idea that you're rebuilding the city in like this, I forget what it's called, like reconstruction project or something like that. But like, do you think that this is going to take place in like a future, past, or modern time period?
I'm honestly just hoping for the past. I feel like for the Legends series as a whole, I think that it just makes more sense. Like I thought Legends just kind of leads to, being in the past. Um, as a title.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in
Makes sense.
other languages it's different translations, but I think it works best that way. I kind of going back to what we talked to earlier. If they do one for Unova, like going in the past, getting the complete dragon, like I feel like it just makes more sense as a whole concept if it's always in the past. And I'm kind of hoping that it's I guess kind of formatted like like Legends Arceus, where especially because Lumios is in the middle of the whole thing. Um, So I don't know. I'm hoping it is like that, where you're in the middle, and then there's like maybe 5 or 6 different biomes or areas you can explore that are decent size. So it's mostly open world, but like segmented open world. That's what
Yeah,
I'm hoping for.
yeah, that makes sense. What do you think, Tyler? What's your opinion on like the megas in battle and like the time period and like the region? Like, what's your take on this all?
I'd say megas. I think having them, if you're gonna have them outside of battle, I think people want to see their mega evolutions that they've earned. I'd say have them outside of battle, and then you don't have to go through the animation every single time you engage. I think that would get kind of boring, personally. As for the time period, I do think people say past, but past could be a lot of different things. Like, sure, you've got the modern city in Kalos, but we could be going back to like I don't know, rather than going back to I don't know I don't know what time period you consider like Arceus to be, but like you could just go back
It's
like
still
I don't know
past.
100 years, have it be more like I don't know if Arceus was like Avatar: The Last Airbender, this could be more like Korra's time thing, where it's just kind of like I don't know 1930s or something. I mean, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff you could do in the past without necessarily having to go too far back. I mean, you could still make it like you're still building the city, but I don't think it has to go as far back in time. In fact, I think it'd be interesting if it found a way to differentiate itself by maybe not going as far back. As for the future, I mean, if it takes place in the future, because it's not a fan theory. It's confirmed like you're working on the city, right?
Yeah, you're like
It,
remaking it kind of.
remaking, if they did that in the future, I feel like it might just feel a little too, I don't know, gimmicky. I don't know, maybe just too out of bounds for Pokemon in my opinion. But I think past would be better. I don't think they necessarily have to go back as far as Arceus did, but I think something in the middle could be cool.
I
Yeah.
agree. Like I think, especially based off the trailer, like what I had in my mind, because they definitely have a lot of buildings, and it looks like I don't know. I don't know if they're showing kind of the end of the game where Lumiose Tower is like already there, but or if you're reformatting that. But I kind of had the same thing where like if Pokemon modern games take place in like the 2000s, like this takes place somewhere in the mid 1900s, where it's not old, but it definitely is not the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree, and I think you could do some fun stuff there too. Especially, I think X and Y had a large focus on like trainer customization. I think if you put that into like a game that took place in like I don't know 30s, 50s, you could have a lot of fun there. I think.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential. I personally, I agree with Joe in the sense that like the title seems to point towards it being past. Just calling it Legends, just it doesn't feel like something you title like a modern or a future time period. Legends makes me think you're going back to like the original myth of like what happened with the
Mhm.
legendaries. It just doesn't
Exactly.
make
Yeah.
sense. And I also feel like Megas it's a weird mechanic to add to a game that's focused on catching, but I also think that this game is going to be much more heavily focused on battling. I think they're going to push battling a lot more than they did in the past games, just because I think Megas is like, it's a battle focused mechanic, and Legends Arceus was focused on catching, but I think this game's going to have a lot more like focus on, I don't know, maybe they'll have like an evil team or something too. I don't know. Like it'd be weird to have like a precursor to Team Flare, but like kind of how Team Galactic had its precursor people in the game, but I'm not too sure how that's gonna work. Kalos as a whole, I could see it being. I don't know. I kind of have concerns that maybe they're actually being real about how it's going to be all in one city. I agree that it doesn't make sense, but like I don't know, the way they word it seems very specific. Like they're really trying to push that it's only in Lumiose City. I don't really know where they're gonna go with it, but I'm a little concerned. I'll have to see the trailer. I'm really hoping you guys are right and that we get to go to all the different corners of Kalos. There's so many environments in Kalos. There's snowy mountains, coastal areas, forests, mountains, or caves and desert area. I mean, there's so many places. A swamp. I mean,
Yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know.
I'm really hoping that we're right. I mean, obviously, but I'd be perfectly okay with if all of the story takes place in the city, and maybe you go out to those areas to collect stuff, but basically, like, you're not going to have any, well, maybe not any, or very few cutscenes that are out in the wilderness. That's kind of what I'm hoping for with how they phrased it. I don't see how you can make a game where I mean, the title or the tagline is "Gotta catch 'em all." I don't know how you can make a game that kind of ropes in all of that. I mean, definitely, if you make a game that's battle focused, you have an audience there, but the main audience of Pokemon games is children. So if you make it focused completely on that, a lot of their key fan base is probably going to get lost or overwhelmed with that if it
Hmm.
gets too competitive.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, I mean, it's coming up on the 27th, Pokemon Day 2025. Um, who knows what else they're going to reveal? I mean, we did talk a little bit about Mystery Dungeon being maybe a remaster of Explorers comes out or a new title. I hope that Explorers gets a remake. I feel like since the original Red and Blue Rescue Team gets a remake or a remaster, I guess. I hope an Explorers gets the same treatment. The last few new titles of Mystery Dungeon haven't been the best, so I'd be fine with a remaster. I was also curious about maybe Nintendo Switch Online adding the retro Pokemon games like Gens 1 through 3. Some people have been throwing that around as maybe a possibility. I hope so. I feel like they should because they were on Virtual Console. Well, at least Gen 1 and 2 were on the 3DS. So I'm hoping that they add it to Switch, especially Switch 2 coming out. I mean, there's no reason not to, I feel like. In terms of like long term plans for this new Pokemon Day, I don't think they're gonna reveal Gen 10. I think Legends is gonna be the main focus. I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's pretty expected. I do wonder if they might hint at a Unova remake or something similar to that. I think Let's Go is kind of done. I don't think they're gonna keep going with that. I think it's kind of like in the past, and they're not even thinking about it anymore. But I mean, I wouldn't mind a Johto remake too, like some kind of Johto related game coming out. I mean, it's been a while since it came out. Do you guys have any thoughts on any like new upcoming Pokemon games beyond Legends that you're looking forward to or hoping to see on Pokemon Day? Tyler, do you have any thoughts?
Remake of Explorers of Time, or I guess you could say Sky. I didn't think the features in there were that crucial, but some of those Blizzard Island missions or whatever the extra stuff, the extra story stuff was nice. I think a remake of those games would be great. I think those Mystery Dungeons games have a story that's kind of just not. I don't know. You don't find the same kind of story in the other games. I think it's just feels a little more. I don't know. You feel a little more invested. I think being the Pokemon, maybe. I guess I can't say for sure, but there's something unique about Mystery Dungeon that really makes me want to come back to it. And you know what? If they can pull off a new entry, then I'll go for it. Honestly, I mean, we've got so many new Pokemon. I think the last time a Mystery Dungeon game came out, I think we were still on Gen 6. So I mean, there's a lot of new Pokemon that can go in there. So
Yeah, there's a lot of options. Uh, Joe, do you have any thoughts on this? I mean, there's so many things they could do for like spin-offs and shit. Um, I mean, there's a lot of old spin-offs that they haven't touched either, like Rangers and I mean Conquest is one of them. That was only a DS game once. Um, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of different possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, I played Rangers as a kid. That was a decently fun game, but honestly, I don't see it coming back, nor do I really feel the need to. I mean, I played Pokemon Rumble as a kid, and that was fun as a kid, but I think Mystery Dungeon was like the one spin-off that really stuck with me. That is, I mean, it still is. They're both really, or both of the series that the prominent ones, Red and Blue Rescue Team, and the Explorers series are both phenomenal. Uh, you know, playing them and story wise, just there those I would love to see, or well, specifically Explorers because we already got a remake of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of mentioned it earlier. But yeah, I really want to see remakes of Unova and Johto. Honestly, I mean, I'd rather not get BDSP versions of them because I kind of doubt that they would do both like they did with Sinnoh, where you get a Legends and a BDSP version.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of doubt that that would happen. I'd rather just get full-on versions. Again, that would be my thing. Is I don't think they should touch Gen 10 for a bit. I think their next big game, next main series game, full remake. Not, I mean, I'd be okay with the Legends version of Unova because of the whole dragon concept. So um, maybe like a full remake of Gold, Silver, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Maybe that's their next big thing, and then after that is Legends Unova.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think they should do. I especially now, again, I said this earlier. Now that we're over 1,000 Pokemon, I think they just need to use what we have because there's like regions they haven't touched in 15 years. Um,
Yeah.
that like again, even if it is like a side burner thing, like if they do a full game that's a Unova remake and they do a BDSP version of Johto on the side, like I'd be okay with that. But I don't think they should just keep making new Pokemon. I think they really have to flesh out some concepts. Not that Scarlet and Violet were bad, but there was a lot of Pokemon that I'm like I feel like they're kind of straying further and further from the original kind of design that it had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not there's some things like inanimate objects that are Pokemon that work. There's things like that that work, and there's ones I feel like more recently, the more they try, the more that I think they're weird. Um, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna preface this with like I know like Geodude is like a rock that floats, but like one of the things that bothers me is like Varoom is like an engine Pokemon, but it also like it has wheels, but it flies, and it's just kind of weird in general.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I think that's one thing that I never really understood. Revavroom, same thing. It has wheels, but it flies. Like I don't know if that's them like not wanting to have to code it running around on the mountain that it spawns in or what. But I mean, I could go through the list of the Pokedex for um Scarlet and Violet, but I feel like they definitely have some really good Pokemon still. Like I really loved um uh Fido and Darkspun or
Mm-hmm.
however you pronounce it. I
Yeah.
think some of them are really good, and then you have ones like that are just misses. And I think the further they keep like trying to make new gens quickly, they have kind of shortcomings like that. Especially same thing with shinies. I don't know why they seem to focus so little on that. Like, I mean, they do have some really good Pokemon like Armarouge and Ceruledge, really good Pokemon. And then like I don't know if they ran out of time, but they're like, oh, they need a shiny, change their eye color and nothing else. Um,
Yeah.
like I get like you could keep the armor the same because like they evolve with the armor. Like I could get that, but you could keep the armor color the same and still change like the flames on them or something. Or like just I really like Annihilate, but its shiny's kind of just mediocre as well. They didn't even really keep going with the green color scheme that Mankey and Primeape had, even though a lot of people don't like green shinies. I think they were like at least decent because they're not horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just need to I think they just need to flesh out their uh what they have currently. They need to go back and remake things we haven't seen in very many years before they start just trying to pump out new generations because we're at like 1,050 something close to that Pokemon. Like it's kind of insane how far it's come. Like I can't even imagine what in 10 or 20 years Pokemon, like how many will there be? Are we going to hit 1,500?
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep this all in your head? How do you implement these fairly? Because people love trading Pokemon between or keeping their Pokemon between generations and transferring them up. Like I know people love taking their games from the Game Boy games and moving them up to their most current games and playing through with them. Like the more that you add, the harder it is to do that because you can't like they can't justify. And I think even with Scarlet and Violet, they can't justify putting in all 1,050 Pokemon, especially you can't have them all be caught. But even if you have them all be able to transfer it in, that just takes up so much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know. I don't honestly don't want to see Gen 10 for a while. I want them to just go back to what we have,
Yeah, I agree. I
especially with
mean,
the new technology on the Switch too. Like, just
yeah.
I'd honestly be okay seeing. Well, actually, Gen 3. I feel like what ORAS has been. Um, I feel like that's been at least 10 years now, or close to it.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think 2015, 2014, one of the two.
14, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, I would say remake all like gens 2, 3. We already got 4, so 2, 3, 5, and honestly, you could go all the way back to 1,
Mm-hmm.
or you like I don't know. I don't see as much of a need to do Sun and Moon again. I don't really know why they did that back to back. Like I think Black and White 2 were the only ones where it was, where it has the two versions and not like Emerald and Platinum where it was a one game like continuation. I think Black and White was the only one where it felt good and different. To me, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, there's never a reason to not play those ones over regular Sun and Moon. The story is too similar, but
Mm-hmm.
you just get some better stuff in Ultra Sun and Moon. So I don't care as much about that one, but I feel like they should really just hit those first 5 gens again before they even think about doing a Gen 10.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the quality of the games is like maybe should be something they should focus on. I mean, I know people for this
Yes.
Legends game are just like happy that they're taking longer than a normal Pokemon game. I mean, we don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes, like why it's taking so long, or like is it actually because they're focusing on developing the game more and polishing it up? I mean, we'll see when Pokemon Day rolls around and we'll see the trailer. I mean, I'm not too sure. It has been a while since we touched a lot of the older generations. Obviously, Let's Go touched Kanto a bit, but it's a little different just because the catching mechanics are so different. And I don't know, it's hard to say. But
Hmm.
I mean, we'll see on Pokemon Day again on February 27th. This is gonna be part one of this podcast episode. We're gonna do a part two where we talk about what we see after Pokemon Day happens. So we're just gonna talk about the reveals and like our opinions on it. So hopefully you wait around for that. But this is going to be it for this episode. Thanks, Tyler and Joe, for joining me. And we're going to get out of here. Adios, guys. Say bye.
Adios.
See ya.